Good morning. Good morning. Let's just get straight to it. I woke up, started looking at the news, taking in data, doing research, but I did have a question. Okay, we're not in a parallel universe. We are all living right here in America, in Florida, living the same experiences, right? We're seeing some of the same things. Who is lying? And this is so important. Someone's got to be lying. Someone's not telling the truth. What is it that we don't believe? Are we so ambitious that looking ahead at maybe what we could want, maybe what we could have, that an individual can come out and just say anything? For instance, guys, I promise you I always have my tablet. And sometimes I do want to do this right in front of you. So I just went to Google first. What is the national average for rent? And then I just hit the button. What's the national average for rent? The national average for rent is 17 sorry, 1749. That's $1,749 according to a recent report by Rent Cafe. That's literally what popped up. The national average for rent is $1,749. Okay. That that not believable? That the national average is $1,749. Is it not believable? Because sometimes when you put out a stat, when you put out a fact, the question's gotta be, who doesn't believe that? Maybe you're like, where I live, I'm paying $1,800. This is a national average. Maybe where someone lives, they're paying this much. It's kind of like, all right, Medicare and Medicaid, right? This conversation. You know what? Let's just get this out the way. Who is really saying that, you know what? I, as long as I can, I want to work. I want to physically work until I die. I never want to not work. I never want to do that because apparently, this idea of working together is complicated. I'm watching, I am watching um, this idea. Okay, we thought there was checks and balances. We said we had a legislative branch, a judicial branch, and an executive branch, and those three branches worked together to ensure that no other branch could do something to harm everybody. That's why they had these checks and balances. Now we are watching in 2025 the removal of, or the coming together of two branches, or maybe even all three: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, because the deck was stacked. Now, how many people considered the fact that, hey, a state, because we watched state representatives turn around and say, hey, I will screw over all the other people in other states as long as you give me a deal for my state. Are y'all kidding me? You mean to tell me that that is what your America looks like? I'm gonna screw over every other citizen because they gave me a deal for the people in my state. What? What stops? Okay, what would stop other people from wanting to do that exact same thing? Hey, put something in there for my state too. Put something in there for my state too. Well, you know what? When we do this, who gets screwed over? Literally everyone. If everybody got something saying that they were going to do something good for their state but screw over everyone's state, guys, every single citizen that's not a representative got screwed over because every state got something, but they did it at the expense of every other state. That's gotta make sense. Who is lying? Okay, how do you fix it? We do not want two things. We don't want a revolution and we don't want a civil war. Why not? Because both of those in history have shown us that there will be bloodshed, right? Remember before even Trump even got in office, that one gentleman said, as long as the left lets this happen, there won't be bloodshed. Whoa, slow down there, Tiger. Look, when you are pushed so far, you're gonna have to do something. I just watched this reporter this morning. I just pointing out problems. I'm like, hey, report on the solution, because you're telling citizens there's a problem as if citizens aren't seeing this. And people are saying things like, well, they must not be seeing it because things aren't changing. There is absolutely nothing you can do except for decide if you want to have a revolution right this moment. Because what are we waiting on? The primaries. What are we waiting on? These election dates to come up. Has anybody not realized that? If you haven't, take it in right now. Unless you're willing to incite a civil war or have a revolution right now, there is nothing a citizen can do. Nothing a citizen can do right this moment. You can get out there and protest, won't do nothing. You have no tangible way to make any changes. So who's lying? Is it me? Is it me that simply says that, hey, we never had a pathway to be able to fix this? I would like to see citizens vote on more pieces of legislation, but that's not going to happen right now, because that's our problem, is when we don't always have to go physical or go violent immediately. That cannot always be the solution, but that's the only pathway, and it's been like that throughout history. If we mess around and go back to this kingship understanding, the only thing that citizens could do when they were under the rule or the thumb of one group, the only thing they could do was fight. They could not talk through this. They could not have a sit down. You had to revolt. You had to create civil war. You had to have a revolution. Like, this is not, you have to ask yourself, is he lying? Go and look. There's nothing you could have done. So structures were put in place to give a chance. Hey, you got to put something in place to give citizens a chance to not tear this place down, but now it's being taken advantage of. It is being taken advantage of. There are things that are being done. Look, man, we should have never deregulated the FDA. We should have never deregulated the EPA. These are life-saving things to ensure that we do not hurt the environment that we all share and live in. Who thought that that was a problem? Who is really saying that, hey, we should be able to pollute the air and make us sick because it's freedom to do so? Are you insane? You gotta be. You gotta be. That's why pushing for legislative authority for citizens is so important. That's why. Because we've got to really ask ourselves, is it worth it? Who's lying? And what can we do about it? If you're getting pushed to that wall, before you go over the edge, you better share this message, and you better share me and say, hey, we have a representative, a candidate that is willing to give people a chance. Now, let me be clear. If we get this opportunity, what are we gonna do with it? Are you gonna vote against your best interest? If we put these mitigation factors into place, is everyone still gonna vote the exact same way? Is everybody gonna vote to say, you know what? I don't want pollution regulation. I think that all these major corporations should be able to dump all of their stuff. I think you should be able to put cancer-causing agents into the food. Of course you should be able to. Is that how we're gonna vote? Because somebody's lying. Because there are representatives that are saying, you put me here to vote for that. So are they lying or are you lying? But one of us is a liar. I have never voted for anybody to tell somebody that, hey, you should go and ensure that the things that I eat are gonna put me in the hospital. Man, I would never vote for nothing like that. I promise. I would never. I would never say that, hey, I want you to make sure you go to that office and I want you to do everything to tick up inflation, and I want to make sure that I'm barely living and I'm barely getting by, because that's going to make me happy. Knowing that I'm barely making it. But I want you to always make sure that I believe that I can do better. Because that's all that matters to me. It's the belief that I can do better. But I want you to pass laws, bills, and legislation that are going to make me suffer. I told you, 42.5 million families are in the rental cycle. This means that you will not, or it will be much harder for you to create the idea of wealth right here, right now in the United States of America. 42.5 million. There is no way I voted for that. There is no way possible. But under a representative democracy, when our representatives pass legislation, yes, I did. Because we put those people in office, and we have yet to put something in place to say that, hey, I did not want that. I want this, not that. That's all I'm saying. Either they're lying or you're lying. And we need to figure out what's what. This is why I wanted citizens, and I want citizens to have more of a say-so. Because either the representatives are lying or the citizens are lying. And we have an opportunity to find out who's lying. I tell you, the idea of direct democracy and legislative authority needs to be bigger than the representative. I didn't come up with the idea. I really didn't. A lot of citizens believe that we were already in a democracy. You can go pull up town hall at the town hall at the town hall when they say this statement. You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. Stop. I don't have to vote the way you vote. Are you insane? The law says I don't have to vote the way you vote. And we are a nation ruled by law. I need to be hired by you, but I don't work for you. You pay me, but you're not my boss. That's the reality. But again, am I lying or are you lying? Because one of us is. One of us is. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am bringing you resources and facts. I need you to look them up. I need you to ask the questions that you need to ask. And I need you to prepare yourselves to be serious about being a part of the system. Because at some point, either we're going to make our present and future look like our past, or we're going to evolve. I hope I'm part of the evolution generation, the generation that wants to turn over something different and show the world something different. Oh, I really do. But the way things are going, the aesthetics currently looks like we're going to recycle what's already been a problem. And I wanted to install a solution to change that trajectory because it means that much to me. And literally, I just want to know who's lying. I really do. I want to know that if citizens would vote the exact same way, then hey, yeah, I want to deregulate. I don't want the FDA to be looking to insure anything. I love the high bills. I love knowing that my rent will go up 100%, but not my pay. I love knowing that things are gonna be harder tomorrow, because that's what literally laws, legislation, regulation have led us to. That's literally what it's led us to. And our representatives who are voting for this, like I told you, that Josh Hawley guy, he said, yeah, of course it's gonna be bad. Of course I didn't agree. But later, I may put an amendment out. Are you insane? No, I'm just gonna vote no right now. No, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. Hey, why didn't you vote for this? Because there was too much that wasn't good. That senator in Alaska, hey, they were gonna do Alaskans a favor But they were going to screw over all the other Americans. Well, I mean, I got hired by Alaskans. What? Can you see the division in that? Hey, aren't you all supposed to be no, because now apparently this big beautiful bill showed us no. Now imagine that all these senators out here, yeah, you were put here for yours, but you're at the federal level. You're at the federal level. And you've been willing to screw over every other state. Every other state, so your state could get a deal. And then behind those closed doors, every state did the same thing. So did any citizens actually get a deal? Every citizen got a deal, and every citizen got screwed in some way. And the real problem is the citizens weren't able to kick back. Hey, the senator of Louisiana voted yes. Well, it hurt the people over here in Iowa. So why would you vote yes, knowing that it hurt the people in Iowa? Well, I cared about the people in Louisiana. The senator in Iowa voted yes. You hurt the people over here in Louisiana. Why'd you do that? Because I care about the people in Iowa. Well, everybody got hurt. So who didn't? Who didn't? I read something that said that wealthy people do not feel financial struggle. So who didn't get hurt if all of these people voted against everyone else? Somebody did not get hurt, but we never see that. And let me end this video by simply saying, look, citizens should have been able to tell our government beyond a shadow of a doubt. First and foremost, we don't even know why this became a government thing, and we're talking about the Epstein list. What on earth does this have to do with the federal government? This should have been a judicial proceeding through and through. Why did the federal government need to have this all the way to the President of the United States? Why does the President of the United States, one way or the other, need to discuss whether or not Jeffrey Epstein trafficked in persons and whether or not the information would be made available? Why did it ever need to get that high when it is not the executive branch's job to decide court cases one way or the other? Why was it necessary for it to ever get to a presidential level on any, doesn't matter who was in office? What was the purpose for it to go so high? For everybody to finally come on and say, eventually they'll forget about it. Because I'm not even telling you to dwell on it, because the lie's out there. One way or the other, someone lied and we know it. And you're just going to have to eat it, because we regular citizens don't have a pathway to fix it. I know sometimes these videos get long, but it's important that we find out what the problem is. What the problem truly is. And if we're going to change our trajectory or stay on path to recreate and regurgitate what's already happened in the past. You guys have a great day.